I'm going to take a moment to remind us part of why we're here, right? We are, as women, lay women especially of the church, we're 58% of the United Methodist Church membership. But that's not necessarily reflected in the leadership of the decision-making spaces currently. We're working on that, right? We're only 25% of the general secretaries. We are only 32% of the current clergy, 33% of the episcopacy of the bishops, and only 43% of general conference. This has increased, except for the general secretary's part, over the years. So that's great news, right? Our work is working. Women voices are showing up more and more, but we still have work to do. And part of it is knowing where these decisions are made in the church and how we make those decisions together. And on that note, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Sanak, who's going to go over what happens at annual conference.
Good evening, everyone. When you hear the term annual conference, it could be referring to any one of three things: a regional body, an organizational unit, and a yearly meeting. The yearly meeting is where the regional body conducts its business and worships together, and this is what we'll be discussing first this evening. Let's first talk about who attends annual conference. Who will be in the room making decisions for your annual conference? Now, all clergy are required to attend annual conference. And because we're a denomination that values the ministry of laity, each annual conference names an equal number of voting lay members as well. So this means for every clergy person at your church or charge, your church also sends a lay person to represent it. You elect your lay representative at your charge conference. Paragraph 33 of the Book of Discipline also requires to be in attendance at annual conference active deaconesses and home missioners, diaconal ministers, the conference presidents of United Women in Faith, and United Methodist Men, conference and district lay leaders, the conference director of lay servant ministries, conference secretary of global ministries, the chairs of the conference young adults, youth, and college student organizations, and one person between the ages of 12 and 17, and one person between 18 and 30 from each district. Now, however, clergy, deacons, and elders can vote into retirement. So annual conferences need to come up with a formula to name an equal number of lay members as there are retired clergy. This is called lay equalization. In addition to voting members, your bishop will also be in attendance at annual conference to preside over the proceedings as your legal chairperson. Other officers, the conference secretary, treasurer, lay leader, and chancellor will also be there, as well as volunteers, pages, and visitors. Now, what is lay equalization? Let's go back to paragraph 33, which states, if the lay membership should number less than the clergy members of the annual conference, the annual conference shall, by its own formula, provide for the election of additional lay members to equalize lay and clergy membership of the annual conference. Now, many annual conferences will name other voting lay equalization members by virtue of their office, and every annual conference equalizes a little differently. Most also invite at-large members by district or invite additional lay members based on church size. Some conferences leave it up to the district to decide. So in order to find out your conference's formula, check your annual conference rules. And so here are some examples of who may be invited as lay equalization voters, like at-large district members, United Women in Faith district presidents, chairs of conference teams and committees, general and jurisdictional conference delegates who are lay, laity on general agency boards. Now, where is annual conference for you? Depending on the size of your conference and its geographic location, you may meet at a hotel, a college campus, a convention center, a camp or retreat center, a church, or other large meeting space. For instance, Susquehanna even meets in a theater, I hear. Check what type of seating will be offered at your conference and pack accordingly. Your meetings can be long and can sometimes move quickly. So planning ahead for your own comfort is always a good idea. Dress in layers and wear comfy shoes. For those of you who have been to annual conference before, you can share some survival tips now in the chat. That'll really help. Yeah. Now that we know who will be in the room and where that room may be, let's talk about what you'll be doing together at annual conference. So you'll worship together, likely including special services such as a memorial service and a service of commissioning and ordination. You'll have a laity session and clergy session. Laity will meet together for a time of learning and fellowship. And clergy have a session to decide matters of ordination and conference relations, and those up for commissioning and ordination as deacons and elders are approved by this body. You'll likely hear your bishop give a message. You may have a Bible study or learning session together. Some of you may have the chance to take workshops or volunteer in community. Some will have a bookshop or exhibit hall, and most should have display tables of some kind. There will likely be some sponsored meals, and you'll do business. Now, what is the business of annual conference? What decisions will you be making together as a conference in that room? Now, during business sessions, you will hear presentations and reports and vote on recommendations. You'll hear informational reports from conference groups like United Women in Faith, Commission on the Status and Role of Women, camp and retreat ministries, missionaries you may sponsor, youth and young adult ministries, conference mission partners and seminaries, scholarship recipients, and others. You'll vote on recommendations such as church closures, benefits and pay for clergy, and your conference's budget and mission projects. You'll also vote on resolutions and petitions. Resolutions and petitions are submitted by individuals and groups within the conference seeking united stances and actions on religious and social issues. Once every 4 years, you'll elect your delegates to general and jurisdictional conference and ratify constitutional amendments passed by the general conference. This part, you'll be studying more tonight. Now be sure to purchase or download your conference's workbook, which should be available now or very soon, or some of you may have already or have started your annual conference, or I think one of you might have ended already. Don't wait. Just don't wait until the last, the night before to, get your materials together. The workbook should share who submitted the report and petitions. If you have a question or concern, it's okay to reach out to that person or group ahead of time. You'll have time to ask during the conference discussion itself, but it's better to do as much work before the meeting as possible. Now, before voting, you'll have a chance to discuss the report or resolution and ask questions. You can find your conference's rules for procedure in your most recent journal, like the 2024. Some of you may have them included in your pre-conference workbook, or you can reach out to your conference secretary. Your business will most likely be governed by rules of the most recent general conference, as well as Robert's Rule of Order. Now, I want to encourage you to join the United Women in Faith digital space called Influence UMC, where you've posted the general, we've posted the general conference rules and Robert's Rules cheat sheets, along with other helpful resources for annual conference. Here's the QR code and the link, or you can search for it at uwfaith.org/digital. All of these rules and procedures can be a bit intimidating, but don't let having the exact right language prevent you from speaking. Your bishop, as the presider, will likely help you get it right. And finally, we know sometimes women aren't always given and don't always take their fair share of time at the microphone. Let's make sure we show up.